Hello, it's Liz from Navigation, and I am so excited to talk to you today about repurposing video because video, in my opinion, is one of the absolute best ways that you can have so much to work with by just creating something once. It's an absolute workhorse. That must be a New England term, actually. I don't know if anyone else uses that, but it's hardworking anyhow. If you start with video as your pillar content, i.e., the piece of content that you're going to put 75 to even 80%, I believe Jasmine Star, a content marketing guru, says that you put in about 80% of your work into your content pillar. And you put in all of your research effort into that one piece, then everything else will kind of, you can recreate it out of that pillar piece of content. So if video is your pillar, I want to talk to you about ways that you can repurpose segments of the video using little snippets of it, repurpose just the MP3 in different ways. Next, I'm going to talk to you about different ways that you can repurpose some of the visuals that you've taken from that video, so without any of the audio. And also, how could you repurpose some of the research that you've put into making that video? And lastly, we'll talk briefly about how you can think outside the box and do some pretty creative things with your video content. So yes, jumping right into it. For repurposing segments of your video, you could, we're going to use one hypothetical situation today. Imagine that you are a brand that creates a YouTube video first as your pillar piece of content every single week on a different topic. And you're going to create all your other content stemming off of that. You could make a best of video using different segments of the video that you made that week, different parts of it, kind of like a too long don't read type of, or I guess too long don't watch video that you could post elsewhere. You could take that video and you could shorten it into different reels. If you have different parts of it that were actually kind of funny or really poignant, they could be reels or stories on Instagram. Next, you could use that video in a presentation. You could take different parts of it. If you have to do a presentation for something for your business, use parts of your video if it's applicable. Next, you can use it on different platforms. So I'm sure you're familiar with IGTV. I actually take my IGTV video every week as my pillar content, and I repurpose that rather onto YouTube. I reformat a little bit and put it over there. Some people do it the opposite way. As long as you're getting the right dimensions, as long as you're doing it horizontally, you're able to use that video in both locations. Because if you're putting it on IGTV, you can create a background for it that's kind of plain or has the titles. So your horizontal video that you've repurposed from YouTube would work fine over on Instagram. You can also take that video and put it on Pinterest. This is actually something I learned fairly recently. So I'm still dabbling in Pinterest, not quite my forte yet. Anyhow, you can take that video that you've had over on YouTube or segments of it, and you can post it on Pinterest pins. You can post 4 seconds to 15 minutes on a pin, and it can be square or it can be vertical format. So that's another way to get it over to another platform and channel traffic over to your website, a place where you can control traffic and funnel them in the way that you need to. And lastly, you can repurpose segments of your video in order to make a promo for your next show. So perhaps halfway through the week, you're going to take some of your video that you had recorded, and you're going to just post a little bit of it talking about what you said this week and get everyone hyped up for what you're going to release next week. So next, let's talk about how you can repurpose the MP3 from that hypothetical YouTube video that you use every week as your piece of pillar content. So with an MP4, you can actually strip out the MP3, which is just the audio of that recording, and do different things with it. You can find a whole bunch of different converters online. Just do a Google search for MP4 to MP3 converter, and you can just download that MP3 file right out of your MP4 video file. So one way that I like to repurpose part of my videos is to use a wave video. It's spelled WAAVE. And you've probably seen those before. Those are the little videos that you might come across on social media that have the little squiggly line going up and down every time someone talks. And sometimes they just have a solid picture in the background. And I've actually taken those wave videos and I've posted them on my Instagram grid. I put one as a reel not too long ago. And to this day, that's actually my best performing reel, interestingly enough. You can turn that entire MP3 file from your entire video into a podcast. You can upload that MP3 over into a program like Audacity, and you can edit it out, put an intro and a closing, and of course, change things around as you need to fit into your podcast layout. And that's a great way to get your voice heard over on different channels. People love listening to podcasts. A lot of people listen to those and prefer them over videos because they can be doing other things while they're consuming really good quality content. And lastly, another really creative thing that you can do with an MP3 file is use that voice recording that you have of yourself. And if you have something very technical and step-by-step, you can actually put that voice over the top of a PowerPoint presentation and save it as a MP4 file. So you're almost making like a little video of a presentation with your own voice, which you've already recorded, as the background while you've created these brand new visuals. So that's a really creative way to give people a presentation with you guiding them through it. All right, third thing, how can we repurpose the visuals from that video? Our hypothetical YouTube weekly piece of content, pillar content. Just the visuals from YouTube video, you could take a picture of yourself while you're kind of in a pose, just like that YouTube video, and you could use that as your thumbnail. You could take any of the screenshot of you in the middle of maybe you're talking with a special guest, and you can use those as promotional photos in other places across your brand. Kind of fun one that's, in my opinion, is doing GIFs, actually. If you have something really funny, that you said, or maybe you did a funny action, you can make a funny GIF out of that and use that somewhere else, again, across your brand. The last one, which I have actually used, is taking a little snippet of me talking and cutting out the audio out of one of my videos and using that in the intro or the outro of some of my videos. So that's a great way to kind of catch you in action. You're giving a presentation type of deal, and you can reuse that. All right, fourth category here. How can you repurpose the research that you've done for this video? Let's face it, content marketing is constantly changing, and you're probably always going to be doing some sort of research before you actually go and make your video. So you've done all that work, why waste it? You can take some of that research that you've done and reform what you have actually portrayed in video content into a slideshow that you could share on a website called slideshare.com. And that is a way for you to easily share your slides with folks, just like it sounds. And you can post those as social media posts or little embeds on your website. So that's very helpful. You can repurpose your research in a blog post. I have heard some people say you can take the transcript of your video and just post it as a blog. Not a great idea as far as SEO is concerned. You're not going to have your keywords in the right places. You need to be focusing on where you're going to have your keywords and your section titles. That's a whole other topic. So do some research before you just take a transcript and repurpose it into a blog post. But anyone who is a content writer would know what to do if you handed them a transcript of your video. Finally, you can take the content that you shared in your video and you can repurpose that into a helpful newsletter or part of your newsletter. You can just give a little teaser and embed the video over to your YouTube channel, and people can read the content that you had, and then they can click over and you get more traffic to your YouTube channel. Because again, that was our hypothetical content pillar. All right, last section. Let's talk about outside of the box ways to use your video content. So you can integrate your video content into a course. Of course, you're not going to have an entire course from your videos. I can't imagine that ever happening, but perhaps you have a very helpful video that you want to add to your course over on Kajabi or whatever site where your course is living. Another great interesting one is to create a bloopers reel. A lot of people will do a couple of little segments at the end of their videos, which are super fun to watch and laugh about, just like our favorite movies. So that's another way that you can kind of remember to share some of your video content. And lastly, when your YouTube playlist starts getting really cluttered up with tons of videos, create some playlists. That's one of the best ways to not have a sprawling hundreds of video page over on your YouTube. Create playlists of your content pillars or your most important topics that you want to share with your audience. So let me know below, how do you repurpose your video content? Was there anything I missed? I would love to hear your interesting ideas that you use within your business. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week on Thursday at 2 o'clock. Bye.